Hey, 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 this is Mary at Mary Unapologetic. Folks, we are back. It's been a while since I've done an episode. And the only reason is because I think the last time I was here, it was late April. And we had a big event. We had a big event sometime in May, and I had to prepare for it. So there was a lot of preparation and moving parts that's going on that I needed to take a break so that way I can focus on my event. But now that that is done, and now that we have taken our vacation, I am now back to doing my podcast. Obviously, this is the first time for me to drop a new episode, and and I thought it would be the perfect timing to actually cover the and explore the topic of college. You know, should people, go to college? What are the pros and cons? So, for those folks that are undecided and doesn't know what to do yet, especially high school graduates, right? I've been in that position before where I couldn't decide as far as should I go to college or should I not go to college, just work my butt off. But I think what's the common denominator here? You want to be successful, right? That's the common denominator. Whether you go to college whether you go to college or you don't go to college, at the end of the day, you are asking yourself how you can be successful. And how to get there is what's going to make a difference as far as your decision making. So, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of story here, a little bit of background of how I ended up in college. Um, Back when I was in high school, I knew that I was going to support myself, as far as putting myself to college because my mom, obviously, I couldn't rely on her due to that. She has her own dilemma or thing going on, and I can't bother her with my own um, problems. And to me, going to college is it's really not a problem, but it's just so much of the decision making since that I'm the one who's going to support me to go to college. So at the same time, I also need to or want to work full time because I'm paying for my own bills. So I don't have I didn't have the luxury of parents supporting me and paying for my bills when I was growing up. So I did really a soul searching, a hard soul searching to find out and figure out what I wanted to do. Because seriously, when you're 17 or 18, you don't really know what you want to do in life. At that point, you're probably more focused on, especially, for me, because I'm a girl, I was focused on like, wait a minute, um, I want to go to a party. I want to meet, a nice, good man. Um, and 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 what age do I want to get married? And what age do I want to have kids? Right? Those are the stuff that was going through my head. I wasn't like really focused on so much as far as oh, okay, I want to get a good job, therefore I got to go to college, or if I'm not going to go to college, how do I even get a good job? Whatever it is, I think my situation, as far as me supporting myself at that time, basically sped up the process of my decision making to go to college. Um, for me, there was no what's and buts about it. I just knew that in order for me to get a good job and to get a competitive or good salary, to be able to live comfortably, I have to go to college. I could have gone to maybe like a trade school or something like that, but they at that time, like back in the 80s or early 90s, they didn't really have that much to offer as far as trade school. You know what I mean? So I knew right away that I want to go to college. The question is, I don't want to spend a lot of money in going to college. as well as how am I going to support myself while I'm in college? Those were the questions that was going through my mind. And so through the process, I figured that I realized and acknowledged that I need to work full time as well as I need to borrow some money so that way I can achieve my goal as far as finishing in college. Now, once I determined that, then I realized that the next question for me to figure out was how much money do I really want to borrow from the bank or the government, to support myself by being in college. Um, I gave myself a cap. I knew I didn't want to borrow over 50 grand because 50 grand back in the late 80s or early 90s, that was a lot of money back then and still a lot of money now, but it was a lot of money back then. So I knew I didn't want to be in debt. So I have to be responsible as far as handling my finance, especially if I'm borrowing money that I need to pay back later on after college. So early on, I have already decided that I need to be very responsible when it comes to my financial situation. Now, why am I covering this topic today, folks? It's because it is that time of the year that for some of us parents, we are dropping off some of our kids that are going to college. And I happen to be one of those parent. One of those parents. I have two adults, two adult kids that are going to college this year. So I thought I'd cover this topic for my comeback episode that I needed to do because I took a good long hyena, folks. Let me see. I think it was the last time I was here was like April 30th, and it is now August, so it's about 2 months. That was like a long hyena. So I figured let's talk about something that's important. Something that people can relate with, as well as probably people are struggling to figure out. As far as college or not college. But going back to the story, um, once I figured out what I needed to do, I did this step by step, by the way. I figured out what I needed to do. And once I decided that I'm for sure going to college, then I had to figure out how I'm going to support myself. Then once I figured that out and finally accepted that I'm going to have to end up paying for college by borrowing some money to pay for my college expenses, then once I finally stomach that in and then I realized that I just need to accept it, then I had to then go into this um adult mode where I have to be responsible to my financial uh what do you call this, financial response. I need to be responsible in regards to my financial responsibilities, as far as how I would spend my money, where I would spend my money, and how much I'm willing to budget for each expenses that is outside um, college expenses. So anyway, once I figured that out, then here I am. I'm moving along. I'm figuring out too. Wait a minute. If I'm going to go to college, should I do a 4 year university or should I do a 2 year community college, then transfer out to university? Boy, I'm going to tell you folks, so many decisions to make when when kids are at this um, situation, because I understand that some parents out there supports their kids to to go to college, but then there are a lot of students out there that they are doing this on their own. And as I said, I happen to be one of those kids. Now imagine this: you're 16, 17, no, not 16, you're 17 or or 18. You're trying to uh, make the biggest decision in your life at that point, as far as borrowing money and then trying to be responsible to financially handle your money responsibly, and then to make bigger decisions as far as where to go to college. All of this stuff is like overwhelming, for someone who's 16 and, I'm not 16. Why do I keep saying 16? I don't know why. For someone who's like 17 and 18, these are like big decisions that too big for teenagers to make, you know? So you have to be almost like really seriously consult someone, like either your parents or your friend, or unless you know what you're doing from the get go, or what you want when you were younger. But not a lot of kids figure it out, at an early age, believe me. Because even when I was in my even when I was 17 or 18 years old, I still haven't figured out what I want to do in life. I mean, I was like questioning whether I should go for business or maybe nursing. It was like, or maybe to be an artist. It was like a constant trying to figure out what I want and how to get there, and whether this is a good decision for me or not. That was a constant, thoughts in my mind at that time. Now, this is um, how I figured it out. Once I figured that I had a plan to go to community college and then transfer to university. Then I put my plan in motion. Now, folks, for those people that's like I said, for those people that are still like in a situation that you are undecided and you don't know what you want to do in life, whether you want to go to college or not, I'm gonna just like kind of cover like the pros and cons, okay? And as an adult now, I'm gonna give you guys my 2 cents as far as what help and why. Now, let's cover the pros first, okay? Some of the pros that I'm going to talk about is just basically food for thoughts, and you might not agree with me, but I know some of the folks out there will agree with me. Now, some of the pros as far as going to college, there's a lot of it, okay? A lot of them. One of them is like higher earning potential. So when you have a 4-year college degree, you know that you can make more money versus not having a college degree. And then obviously, you would also see this by how people interact with you when you're applying for college, and then, like once they see your resume. And then not only that, you're more marketable when you have a college degree. So that's one of the good things about it, what motivated me to pursue college. Second, it's like access to more jobs. When I say access to more jobs, what I meant is that because you network while you were in college, then you would have more resources and more access to more jobs. And then once you have a 4-year college degree, you can always use that as a levering bargain. Not a levering leverage. You can not a levering. You can use that as a leverage as far as bargaining to get the job that you want and to get the salary that you want. My mind is one step ahead of me, and sometimes I'm saying things that I'm not even thinking. You know what I mean? So anyway, you can use that as a leverage to get a job that you want. So if you want to be like a CEO, or if you want to be like a top manager in a big firm, then you can use your degree as a leverage to get the job. And then hopefully at that point, you're a little bit like a well-rounded kind of person to deserve the position. Because when you are in a higher position and you are managing people, you need to be in a different level of I would say understanding, you know understanding people as far as managing them. Now, moving on to the third thing that I want to talk about is like more learning opportunities. I know you guys are probably thinking that what could you possibly learn once once you're in college, and some of the subjects that you're gonna have to take in college are almost the same subjects that you took in high school. That's not necessarily so. I mean, your lower division, yes, it will cover like English, math, history, some electives again, but then your upper division will focus more on your major. So if you are majoring in business, it will focus more on things that are something to do with business. Now, if you want to be an attorney, then it's going to focus more on laws and regulation we have in United States. Now, if you want to, if you want to go for marketing, then it's going to focus more on marketing and anything that entails about marketing. So, obviously, going to college will give you more learning opportunities. And then, not only that, will give you more opportunities to meet people that have more knowledge about everything, whether it's life, whether it's the 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 subject that you're having to struggle with, like let's say math or science. You get to talk to to new and different people about it. And then it would also give you an opportunity to learn more about what you want to major in college, because you're going to be going to school with not just I would say not just like people that are going for in your own grade, but also you're exposed to people that are like a sophomore in college, a junior in college, and senior in college, and some people that have gone back to college after they started a family and they are like, let's say, in their mid 50s or mid 60s. If they didn't earn a college degree and they decided to come back to college, then you are getting some exposures to different, you know, type of people, different kind of people, as well as different ages. And so then now you have more people to network with as far as finding out what you really want to do, because you can ask questions. Maybe you might be paired up in a project with someone who's 60, 50 years old, and by that time someone those people have already like gone through life and experience and learn things in life that you haven't learned yet. So it's good that you're in an environment where you're constantly learning, and that's what's the beauty about being uh, being alive and improving yourself and your lifestyle. Now, fourth thing that I wanted to talk about is networking. um, when you are in college, you're actually networking already. Even even a freshman in college, they already emphasizing that you need to network, not just with your own people that are in your own grade, but also people that are older than you and a higher grade than you. Network. And not only that, not you need to network with people in school that are not just going in the same major as you, probably a different major, but if they have more wisdom to share, it's always better to network and learn from those people. Now, when you also network, you are exposed to different and when I say network in school, okay? When you go to college, school is going to emphasize on networking, and networking actually entails of, let's see, going to career fairs, um, joining student organization, because it's only going to be good for you no matter what. Um, going to uh, do job internship, and and the beauty about the career fairs is like you're not exposed to just one employer. You're going to be exposed to a few employers that are in the job fair or career fairs. um, And the beauty about going to to career fair is that you're gonna be able to ask the questions in real time and get to know the employer. So that way it will give you a little bit of an idea whether you want to work for that employer or not, or whether you want to do an internship for that employer or not, or whether this is where you want to start your career and build your portfolio and reach for your success, right? So these are the stuff that you will have an easy access to when you go to college. I'm not saying that you're not going to have this kind of access when you don't go to college, but it's more easier when you're in the college environment, community. And now, what's the and I'm probably, some folks out there are probably like, I mean, I mean, I wish this is like a Q&A questions where there's a live people asking questions. So that way I can ask this I mean, I can answer this in real time. But this is a recorded video because I just want to do something really fast and as well as not get disturbed. So that way my train of thoughts is not like all over the place. But anyway, what's the benefit of um, networking? And I'm focusing on networking, folks, because this is what I'm seeing out there right now. Like I said, I went to my kids' orientation as far as their college school. And as a matter of fact, from my experience, I'm going to talk about my experience, when I did this for the first time with a big university with one of my kids. One of my kids, my experience was I didn't know what to expect because I didn't go to a big university. One of my kids is going to a big university, by the way. Um, I didn't, and one is already started with a small school and then transfer and going to a state college. So anyway, going back to one of my kids that are going to a big university. So I didn't expect when I went to the orientation. As a matter of fact, when my kid told me that, hey, this is by the way going to be an 8-hour thing, 8-hour orientation, I started thinking, oh my gosh, what could possibly parents would be doing for 8 hours as far as orientation? I figured is they're just going to talk about the school, which we already decided that this is a school that my kid's going to, so why even like bother going over that again? And then, oh, maybe financial, right? But then I'm like, we kind of know that already, so what could possibly be, you know what could possibly be, me doing in 8 hours? Well, folks, I learned a lot attending this orientation. They really focus more on talking to the parents of, we need to be present parents while they're in college. What that means is that, and this is how I'm interpreting it, okay? What that means is that sending our kids to college is not the beginning and end. We need to be also in the process with them throughout the 4 years that they're going to be in college. We need to be present and involve, so that way their chances and the probability of being successful and graduating at the end of 4 years is higher than those parents that didn't become involved, with their kids college. So they emphasize on that, and they emphasize really a lot on networking. They said that you can now start internship as early as freshman year, because back in the old days you don't start until junior and senior year. But then now they're emphasizing that you can start and talk to your kids on doing internship, or even like start looking at joining at student organization, as well as looking into career fairs, so that way you can start a job while you're in college. They're saying that start on it on a freshman year, because now a lot of employers are recognizing that they need to build connection and relationship, and then come with that, 4 years is a good time to get to know someone, like a student, to see if the student is going to continue on after internship, by hiring that person, you know. But anyway, I'm so glad that university, I mean, not university, employers are now recognizing more and more that they need to hire students that are just coming on and starting their college years in school, because I think this will prepare them even more, as far as job seeking and interviewing, and also figuring out which company they want to work for, or which degree they want to actually pursue. Now, some people, I'm going to talk about the cons now, okay? The because I'm talking today, folks. I remind you, I'm talking about the pros and cons of going to college. Now I'm going to talk about the cons. Now, some people that are arguing the cons about going to college is that they said, and I know someone who's close to me actually said this once before, that they said that going to college doesn't really teach you um, about your career, or about your let me see here, about your major, what you majored in college. Also, it doesn't teach you about um, being a worker once you're done with college, you know. Now, for this is what I've heard out there, but for me, I beg the difference. I think for those people who goes and decided to go to college, they need to know their place, or why they're in college, or why they're doing it. And so that way they can maximize using all the resources, because if they don't know why they are in college, then, and that they are just there because just to get a certificate at the end of 4 years, then they're going to be lost once after college, you know what I mean, once they're done, with the 4 years. The only reason is because college is just there to teach you the basic, and to teach you how to um, thrive, and how to make it in life, as far as being a worker, as far as being an employee. It's just there to help you and teach you the basic. Obviously, it's not going to teach you, you know how to I would say run your business, or how to solve problems that will happen every day when you're running your business, or it will not teach you how to tackle certain problem when you're managing people in a company, because those comes when you are right there in the moment. Going to college is just going to prepare you on how to deal with those kind of situation, because if you're well prepared for something like a situation that you don't know what it is yet in the future, then you wouldn't panic, it would be like it would be less for you to panic, and more, you would be more composed to deal with those kind of problems. So to me, going to college is just a preparation for you to really figure out how things work in life, as well how the work industry w- work, or the process, or how the process works, you know what I mean? Because if you don't know how it works, then you kind of would be like lost and don't know what to do. Now, some of the cons that I'm also hearing is that the high cost of going to college. But here's the thing, folks. I agree with you. It is expensive to go to college now. It's always been expensive though. Back in the 90s, back in the 80s, back in the early 2000s, it's always been expensive to go to college. But here's the thing. If you don't know how to manage your finance while you are going to college, then there is no assurance that whether you go or not, that that's gonna, that you're gonna thrive with your financial handling at all. And not only that, if you know how to um, manage your money and be a financial responsible person with your financial situation. If you don't know how to do that, then obviously you're going to struggle with anything, whether you go to college or not. So the answer to the argument out there that college is expensive is that why don't you learn budgeting and being a responsible person for your financial situation early on. You can do that, like what I did. Yes, I borrowed money from the bank, and I also qualified for some loan I mean some financial aid out there that I didn't have to pay, but I was very, very responsible. So I didn't put myself in debt. That's why I gave myself a goal that I'm only going to borrow up to 50 grand. As a matter of fact, to be exact, I only borrowed 30,000. I mean, that's doable. I knew that, hey, I can pay this off once I get a good job and uh, high paying job out there, high salary, right? So I knew that I'm gonna get my money's worth as far as what investment I put in college. Now that's my second point, actually. The opportunity cost of the spent not working. Some of these people, because that actually came on my mind too, that if I stop working because I'm going to go to college, then that means that I'm going to be wasting how many years of my life not saving any money because there was no income coming in. And that's what made me decide to work full time while I was in college. So that way, I am still paying for some of my fixed expenses, as well as I'm not borrowing too much money for college. So I basically eliminated that problem. I fixed that problem, like how I fixed the high cost of college. You know what I mean? It's how you think about it first, it's how you look at it. So one of the argument too that some of the people that are saying, or what I heard out there as far as you know um, not going to college, is the availability of high paying no degree. So basically, um, what they're saying is that if you go to college, there is no assurance that you're not gonna there's no assurance that you're gonna get a high paying job after college. You're right, folks. There is no assurance that once you finish college that you are gonna get a high paying job out there, or even your ideal job. There's no assurance. That is for you to figure out how you're gonna get there, and you can't figure that out unless you surround yourself with people that are um, career minded, that are have already extensive experience and have been there and done that, as far as solving problems about um, finance, or even how to get the job, or even how to deal with life and juggling with career. So you wouldn't be exposed to those people unless you go to college. Because if you are working, most of the time you're working and you're focusing on doing a good job for your employer so you can move up, right? But you haven't really surrounded yourself with the right people, as far as, hey, let's share some ideas here on how to get a job, how to get your dream job, or a high paying job even, or how to go about applying and acquiring those jobs. So I am just basically acknowledging what they're saying out there, but then there's always a solution. And the solution is, that's why it's good to network. And being on campus and being in college will give you a lot of opportunity and resources to network. Now, the fourth thing that I wanted to talk about, and what I've been hearing from people that arguing that you don't have to go to college, is that the unemployed college graduates. So a lot of people saying, okay, XY, XYZ already graduated, but that person is unemployed right now. So it beats the purpose, or it beats the argument that why even go to college if you're just going to be unemployed? But you're not going to be unemployed for a while, though, folks. Think about it. You're not going to be unemployed for a while. That's just temporary, because everything in life is temporary. Now, um, I'm going to emphasize on this. It's how you look at your problem. It's how you solve your problem. You don't want to solve one problem and create a new one. But you're not going to learn all these skills unless you surround yourself with people that talks about this, or that you're in a right environment for a conversation like this. These are the stuff that happens in the classroom. you know like, for example, when I studied business, I thought business is just this and that, because you see people running businesses all the time, right? I work for small and big companies, so I've seen how they run their business. But you think that you know everything because you see things in the surface, but really what you haven't tapped into yet, it's what's behind the scene. And so when I went to college and we had um, deep conversation and explored deep topics as far as business, I learned a lot. And then from there, I learned a lot about myself too, that I can change my mindset and solve problems that are hard and that's probably not that I'm not able to solve had I not gone to college. And that gave me empowerment of being a fierce woman and changing my mindset at a snap of my finger. Oh shoot. At a snap of my finger. I learned to be flexible and not rigid. I learned to see things from different perspective, other people's different perspective rather than just my own. I learned to embrace diversity. I learned to embrace other people's opinion rather than my own, because when you have more voices and you hear this from different kind of people, then that's where idea happens, and that's where also problems gets resolved, because you are putting so many brains together to solve a problem rather than just your own. Because and if you guys are wondering why, because maybe my problem solving skills can only go this much, but if I surround myself with people that had been um, out there and have a lot of wisdom, then I'm going to gain more experience and be able to solve bigger problems, or harder problems. So that's why I'm saying that going to college is really worth it. You know what I mean? Now, I kind of had a conversation with a few people, and then they said, you can be successful in life without going to college. That is so true. That is so true. You can be successful in life without going to college. But the question here is, are you one of those 1% or 10% kind of people that makes it in life without going to college and still be successful? Because if you're not, then that rule doesn't apply to you, or that saying doesn't even apply to you. Well, actually, it's not even a saying, it's an opinion. That that opinion doesn't apply to you, because some people, it will take them to be in the proper environment and to be surrounded with the right people for them to understand how things process, how things works, and then boom, a light bulb switch will come on. Sometimes you have to go through the process to understand, you know and a lot of because we're all different, a lot of people process things differently, and I for one needs to experience things in order for me to get it. But then I can also learn from other people's opinion or other people's experience, and then I tell myself I don't need to go through their experience to actually comprehend it, especially if it's a big issue. I don't want to put that upon myself. I'll just learn from their experiences. But obviously, you have to surround yourself with the right people, like the people that have already been there and done that, to be able to learn from it. I mean, from them. Now, or from it, meaning the situation. Now, I also heard that some people said, I went to college, didn't really learn anything. As a matter of fact, I went for business and they don't really prepare you how to run your own business, how to do your marketing, how to do this and how to do that. Look, folks, I'm going to tell you, when I went to college, obviously they introduced the basics, such as, basics, English, math, that, because you need those, right? You need those anyway, whether you could go to college or not. It's called reasoning, learning, practicality, and reasoning, right? Common sense. Um, it's learnable. Common sense is learnable, believe me. Because for some people it's innate, but for some people they don't. They have to learn it, so it is learnable. Now, here's the thing. Um, for those people that are saying that college doesn't prepare you for like running your own business or working for someone as like managing people, that is not true. Because when I went to college, when we have deep conversations about um, marketing, creating ads, um, business operation, business law. That is a big part of business, by the way, law. Okay, because you want to be in compliance, you want to be legal, you want to make sure you're not doing anything that is unethical as far as business that will get you in trouble with being legal. So also customer service, that has something to do with psychology and behavioral. So they teach you all this stuff, like just to learn the basic stuff. It is up to you as a human being to learn from that and use that to solve future potential problem that will come to you. You know, that's what college is supposed to do, just to prepare you for those times or those moments that you are having a hard time to make a decision on. Um, Now, as far as what I learned in college, going for a business major, what I learned is that marketing is not like a fixed thing. Marketing changes and evolve over time, and depending on what time we're in, and obviously what was working then, it's not what's going to work now because we evolve too. So since I learned those, I'm able to uh, pivot our marketing. Me and my husband are able to look at things in real time and be able to pivot and be able to identify the problem and figure out a solution. But can you imagine if you don't have that background because you didn't learn the skills to do it? Then you're kind of like stuck, right? Running your own business, thinking that there's no solution to your problem or that your option is very, very uh, uh, restrictive as far as trying to figure out how you're gonna like solve a business problem or even level up your business, or even scale your business. So going to college will just teach you the skills. Applying what you learn is where you're going to learn it in real life. You know what I mean? And also, going to college will prepare you to what's real, what's out there, the real life. Now, here's the thing. When I was going to college, I was also working. So I was able to apply it in real time while I was in college. So for those folks that's wondering, um, hmm, that's a good idea, and I highly suggest it. At least work part time while you're in college, because especially if you're in business, because you're going to be able to apply in real time what you are learning as you are in college to real life situation. You know what I mean? Now, here's the thing too, folks. For every businesses out there, they have different company cultures. So therefore, what when you work for a company, you're always going to learn their own culture on how they run their business. how their process is. So don't worry so much about learning this in college, because that's not the case. The there's no way that being in college will able to teach you how to work in, Raytheon company, how to work in Walmart company, how to work, in, let's say, Google company, and thrive. They don't teach you that, because for each businesses, they have their own different cultures. They will teach you that once you get higher in their company. Those are something that you would go through with orientation and training. So there's no correlation there, that, hey, they don't teach you business when you're in college, because they're not supposed to. What they're going to teach you, and what they taught me, is how to learn the skills to be able to um, thrive, and be able to solve problems, and be able to see opportunity once I'm in that situation. So that's basically what college is. Now, let's see, what are the key takeaways, folks? Um, I'm gonna sorry and apologize that I'm going through and zooming through this things that I'm talking about, because we're like 36 minutes into this, and I only have an hour limit as far as this recording. Now, what are the key takeaways? Let me tell you. The key takeaways, between the pros and cons of going to college, is that college and having a degree could lead to significantly higher earnings. We've already covered that, and I'm going to emphasize on it. And also job security. So, higher earnings, job security. Not to say that for those folks that didn't have a college degree, they didn't have higher earnings. That depends, because it depends on what job you hold, like maybe in the PDR business, you can make a lot of money without having to go to college. Yes, because the industry itself, it's just works that way. But if you are not in my industry, how are you going to get a job that has a higher earning if you didn't have a 4-year degree? You're going to be competing with those people that have a 4-year degree, especially how you move up in place within the company or within the organization, and how you would be compensated for it. You know what I mean? Remember, you are in competition with those people with a 4-year degree, as well as the job security. You know, companies, especially big corporate, companies out there, they're gonna hire someone who is already been to college, who's got the 4-year degree, who is easy to teach, because they have some exposure to how to negotiate and how to work with people, and they have already learned the skills on how to solve problems too, and how to find opportunities. I mean, obviously they're going to hire someone who's got a 4-year college degree, as opposed to someone who's not, because they want to teach someone who's teachable, and someone who is, going to learn their ways, rather than being rebellious, right? They don't need a headache. So, another thing that are takeaways for going to college and the benefits of it is that, even with a college loan, your degree, think about it, may eventually pay for itself. So if you borrowed 50 grand, if you end up having a job that pays you $200,000 a year, that will pay for itself, as far as your college loan. That's why the key takeaway here is that, and the key thing that you need to do is, when you borrow a loan, don't borrow too much money. Make sure that you are being financially responsible with the money that you borrowed, as well as get a job. Even if it's a part-time job, it's going to be good for you. You're going to be resilient, you know what I mean, when it comes to this, if you follow this recipe. Now, another key takeaways here is that the 4-year college experience can be great opportunity for personal growth, talking about skills that you will learn while you're in college. Personal growth, I'm going to emphasize on that, and exploration. See, that was the biggest thing for me, is that the experience that I got, having the opportunity of learning about myself, learning about different people, learning about people that have something to share to me that I can learn from. And then, the personal growth of being in college, it just gave me the skills to be able to thrive even in a bad situation, and to be able to see things in the bigger picture rather than the small picture, so that's why I'm able to pivot myself and succeed all the time. Now, also, the biggest takeaway of going to college is like your access to people as far as networking. Networking provides a wealth of networking circles too, like the people that you surround yourself, maybe the employer that you met that knows someone in your class. So you got to think about that, folks. This is like, look at this in the big picture, okay? It's all about networking. Even like, after you're done with your degree, you need to be able to have like a list of people that you want to hit up and see if you can apply at their at their company, at their companies, as well as be able to learn how to apply for that job. Now, one of the things that I mentioned, folks, earlier on, is that students as early as freshmen are urged to apply or to join a student organization. Now, if you're in business, you can join in some kind of a business organization out there. So, and so that way you can learn more as far as business, and then partnering with with companies as far as internships. It's going to teach you a lot, right? So there's a lot to talk about and a lot of benefits of going to college. But then the question is, how much benefits is it by not going to college? So if you were to compare it, there's no comparison. So that's why I ended up in college, and I basically sacrificed myself. And yeah, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard, but yeah, there's going to be like sacrificial need in your part to succeed at the end of your college year. So, folks, I appreciate you being here with me, and I can't believe that I'm starting again. I didn't forget about you. Thanks for being patient, with me as far as dropping a new episode. I appreciate you being here and listening, and having this conversation. Or, well, it's not conversation, it's like having you guys listen to me. That right there in it, that right there in it, it's like a pleasure. I really appreciate it. It's about almost an hour, so I'm going to say goodbye. I don't have an outro music just because today I was having technical difficulties with our equipment. So directly, I am just using my computer, and obviously this microphone that's hooked up on my computer. Until next time, I appreciate you guys. I'm saying goodbye. And don't forget to follow me on my social media, Traily8. I'm on TikTok as well as I'm on Instagram and Facebook. And my name, by the way, Marianne Apologetic. Thanks. Bye bye.